Predator vs. Wolverine #1, written by Ben Percy, art by Ken Lashley in the present day, Hayden Sherman in the Weapon X, and Kai Zama in the Muramasa era. I reversed that for some reason. Colors by Juan Fernandez, present day, and Alex Guimarães of the others, and you have VC's Corey Petit on the letters. Remember last issue, me and you really did enjoy it a lot more. I didn't love the first issue. I thought that it was that slower kind of prey pace.
Same
I
with me,
like the Predator, like original Predator, and when we got the whole Team X weapon, then you started getting the feel, and even we were playing the joke of like, oh my God, Sabretooth, he's like Jesse the Body. You know, it was really fun.
It was really good. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it? It was really good art as well.
Yeah. So when we get into this, the end of that was that the Predator had just walked upon Wolverine, the Weapon X deal. He's in that bath with all the wires connected to him, so he didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't quite think that he was going to, do like a autopsy while Wolverine was still living.
I know, that
and
kind of
also
freaked me
pour
out, Jim.
acid on his face.
My God.
It was crazy. And so when that happens, you're just waiting to see, like, what is he doing? And it makes sense. The Predator has been tracking Wolverine. The whole play of this is tracking him through time, through all these things going on. And so he is learning as Wolverine's learning. And you end up where Wolverine just ends up attacking. He does wake up with a skull. Now, I say all that. We really do start. I just wanted to point out that's where we left off last issue. We do start, though, and the idea of jumping through time in this book, it doesn't throw me off as if I'm confused. It throws me off with the pacing of it, just like me getting involved in it. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is pretty cool. And then we switch to another scene. And it works out because, like I said, you're going to jump back and forth to see both Wolverine and Predator learning about each other. The big problem with Wolverine, as he says in this, is that his mind's a little gummy. He gets things erased, so he seems to be at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to learning about who you're fighting. But in the present day, they're continuing that fight. Wolverine was underwater. He's trapped. He's going, and you get this narration about Wolverine talking about, how it works with these hunters and how you end up. Is it the gear or is it the fighting abilities? Things like that. It's okay. It's very bloody. I mean, have a lot of blood going.
Yeah, does he cut himself? I couldn't work that out. And then to like hide himself with the blood.
Yeah,
mask
it
himself.
Seems like that's the deal, like almost like with the mud in the deal. But it's not as good because, again, Predator kind of can sense things and he has that better thing, but he's, trying to mess with his tech with it. And then when the Predator goes down to see where Wolverine was, he's not there anymore. And then we kind of stop. And when we go back to the Weapon X facility in the past, that's where we end up seeing that end of the last issue. And again, it's a bit disjointed because you're going to go from here. We're going to get the present. We're going to get the near present. We're going to, in this issue, go to Japan. We're going to do a lot of things. And I don't know if it would have been better just straightforward as you see the progression of them learning. I feel like the jumping through time in different ways is trying to fancy it up a bit to try to make it like, I don't know, to make it more exciting, but it throws me off a bit because, again, you end up at that Weapon X deal where Wolverine does wake up as, right before the acid just destroys his whole face. I mean, his whole head is just disintegrated and he's just the adamantium skull.
What does it remind you of that? It reminds me of something, that image, like just that adamantium skull and his body's still intact.
Almost looks like Terminator a little, the whole thing. It's very odd. And again, that works for me. But you have this deal here where the Predator is there and he's not necessarily there to kill him just for that. He actually grabs him as a trophy. But I wonder why he doesn't just cut off his head.
That's what he should do, yeah.
You can't really have that or we have problems. So he hauls Wolverine's body off to his ship. It becomes uncloaked. The art's really good. And you see all these different trophies, all these things as Wolverine. And the narration is talking about, rich people who go out and they end up shooting big game and they think they're great and they have trophies, things like that. I'm not saying the Predator is like that. He's a little bit different, but he's there and seems to think that he has taken Wolverine in and the fight's over. It kind of throws me a bit because I don't think that's how Predator would be. I think that he would have just taken his head off, right?
Yeah, he would have done. Does he not know that Wolverine can regenerate? He just mustn't realize.
You wonder what he knows about humans, what he knows about things, because it's been quite some time. He's lived a long time with this as well as Wolverine, but he might realize he has a healing factor, at least from what they've gone through. But again, he wants a trophy. Why would he bring the whole body and just lay it down there and then...
Plot armor, Jim. It's plot armor, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So he ends up and he's going to heal up. He takes off his gear. He takes off his mask, which is kind of important. And then the government was alerted that somebody had broken into the Weapon X facility. So they come in. These poor guys, they don't stand a chance. At least the one guy, he ends up just getting blown up. Weathers, which is a wink, wink. I didn't even think of that before. They end up losing Weathers, I'm sure, first name Carl.
Carl Weathers, yes.
The government doesn't understand this is alien. They're like, is it Russian? Is it Chinese? Where are they headed? And the guy's like, they're heading to the damn moon. And then they pull him off. I mean, this guy starts missiling the deal, but it's not really doing anything. And I think that when we get the whole adamantium skull head Wolverine, and why we have that is so we can get a cool picture of Wolverine waking up with a half of a flesh face with the other half adamantium pissed off.
It is pretty cool, Jim. Yeah, it's a cracking scene.
You end up where he's talking about that as this is being done, he's thinking back on this as we've had this whole deal. And he doesn't like, hey, I don't really know what happened, but I look through a lot of footage. Government likes to film things. We have this going on. And I think I might have ripped a hole in the side of a spaceship and jumped out. And that's what you see happen. You know, they end up getting hit by missiles and things like that. But really what happens here is he just rips open the side of the Predator's, ride. Not very nice. He's going to have to pimp his ride now. But he ends up and then jumping out. Now, recently, a lot of people have been up in arms because of Chip Zdarsky and what he did with Batman jumping off the moon. Right? Jumping off that. But that's Batman. This is Wolverine. Wolverine, you can think can end up jumping out of a spaceship in space and then going and landing. He's going to end up healing. But he ends up going and just, boom, hits and makes this huge crater.
I love the art as well, Jim, showing him like coming down like a comet almost, isn't it? Like a meteorite. That's a great progression of panels.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, we see something falling, we go, and you end up seeing that they not only grabbed up Wolverine, but they also grabbed the Predator mask that he took off. We saw him take it off. That came out when, Wolverine breached the hull. So they picked that up, and that's where you get Professor Thornton. And in this, again, little Elseworlds kind of wink-wink deal, but I kind of really like this part where Professor Thornton then used the tech in the Predator mask to then improve the things they were doing in their mind, improve the things they're doing to Wolverine. And it plays off, I said before we started recording, it plays off that classic of when you have like Area 51 stuff. Oh, the aliens did crash.
Reverse engineering the alien tech.
All the tech, like, leaps and bounds from that point. That's one of the arguments that the conspiracy theorists say, like, why did we suddenly jump leaps and bounds in the tech? Unfortunately for Wolverine, this isn't exactly like making a microwave oven. This is just making him worse and worse and worse. But
it is.
I like that play again of they are facing off throughout these times, and now you have that point where Wolverine's kind of catching up, or at least learning a lot from this whole play, and is going to know some of the things that the Predator does, even if it's not like, okay, it might be subconscious, it might be just in this program, but he's definitely being taught and being programmed along the lines of stuff with the Predator. So it's kind of a cool play. I thought that was really one of the things going in. You don't have a lot of like these clever plays in this. It's really is just Predator versus Wolverine, but I thought that was a kind of a neat little play, kind of the wink-wink of that alien tech stuff sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then we go to 1 week ago. And this is where I thought, okay, this is cool. We start off, and you kind of lose track, but you start off with the present-day fight. That's the be-all, end-all. That's how it seems like it will end, with that just, let's go at it mano-y-mano. So we go 1 week before, and you do see where Wolverine has gone back to the Weapon X facility and he did find the mask. So he brings it out and lays it down to say, like, come and get me. Hopefully this thing will start beeping. It'll start, and this predator, if he's still out there, still alive, he'll come and let's get this over with. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then you kind of like, he even like, looks like he goes to sleep next to it and then jumps up thinking, okay, here's the fight. And I thought, oh, that's a good way to end it for the last issue. Remember, the last issue is next issue. This is penultimate issue.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to, so I thought, okay, that's a really cool way to wrap it all around. We got the stuff. Let's go. But no, we jumped back to feudal Japan.
We're in Japan, Jim. Muramasa's estate.
That's a really cool part of Wolverine. So, yeah, I don't mind getting it. It's just maybe you could have gotten that
it feels very
a
tacked
scene
on,
before or, you know, a little bit and end with that where he's waiting for him, because it does end up like taking away that idea of, all right, we're getting to that final fight. We're going to see the final part of it. Even seeing that fight going on, the present day one throughout these issues, I don't know, it ends up watering down a lot of the things where now, once you jump back to Japan, it feels like, okay, I get it. We're doing greatest hits. We're seeing the things. It just doesn't feel like it flows very well, but
it doesn't
cool.
flow. It doesn't fit the story, I think, just like what you were saying. It is cool to look at. It looks awesome, the art.
And I like the scene. Like, I like seeing Muramasa.
Oh, yeah.
I like the idea that we're going to get another team up because it's been so solitary. Our favorite issue was last issue with the Team X. So now we're going to actually get Muramasa and Wolverine fighting the That's awesome. I just think that the way it's paced and the way it's presented, and it kind of gets mangled in together. But, you know, you see him training. Muramasa's saying, you're going to have to beat me, Wolverine. Hey, I could use pop my claws. And he's like, well, the reason I'm doing this is when you could just beat me with a sword, then you being you could beat 10 million people. So let's train. The training is interrupted. And I do like the little play. The art's great, like you just said. Predator shows up really pissed off, like, you got my mask. But at that point, Wolverine doesn't know and things because of that whole gumminess of his mind. But he shows up with that crazy skull, alien skull head deal. Pretty cool. Like, that is really neat. And then it says to be continued, obviously, because that's the last deal. It's a great cliffhanger page. It's just, I wish that... It's
an awesome design, isn't it? It's a great look for the Predator.
Yeah, it's awesome. So at the end, I still do like this. I just wish that it was presented a little bit different so that you can, you know, what happens is you end up getting excited for what, and then we pull away. Then we get it, and so I just wish that Ben Percy was writing this where that tension just continuously rose to a point. I think that it kind of lessens it the way he did it, but some may disagree. But what would you give it?
Overall, enjoyed it like you. Not as positive as the last issue, but this was fun. If a
last
little bit,
issue was really good.
It was great, wasn't it? That was the best.
I wanted that the whole series.
I did.
It should have been Predator versus Team X, and that would have been the best. It would have been so cool.
But this is a bit disjointed, Jim, isn't it? As you say, we're kind of like, just when we're getting to one point, getting excited, we jump back to Japan, which even though it looks good, it's a bit kind of like, it felt tacked on. So I'm going to go for a strong 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm a 7.5. I could go to up to an 8 because of the art, but because of that thing, like you said, when you say it feels tacked on, I agree. It almost feels like as you're writing, Ben Percy's writing the script, and then somebody's reading like, oh man, you didn't go to Japan. Oh crap.
We've got to do Japan, Gio.
I better do this. So that seems like what we're going to end up, going for. We'll end up probably doing the same kind of deal. We'll end up where, and in my mind, next issue will kind of tie up everything from all the things, and then at the end just end that fight. But I kind of want that big fight in the present to maybe have been this huge thing where we could just, and maybe it will, but it just feels like we're just getting little tidbits, little bits each time. And I think that it would have been better to have full out spread deal, but we'll see. And I don't know. Maybe it'll read better in trade as you just, plow through it, because it is a quick
more
read.
More Team X, Jim.
I'm telling you, that was so good. So that's great. I'm going to go up to an 8 because of the art. Now you're getting me excited, but I'm actually, my excitement raises thinking about the last issue, but I'll be more positive. I haven't liked a lot this week, and this actually was something that I did enjoy. So I'll go real
Good.
positive. 8
Good for
out
you.
of 10. If we keep talking, I'll just keep going up.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.